Every person could be you though. A pretty guy with a halo. But who am I kidding, please now? I gotta realize that you.
All right, hello everyone. Eric Marks here again with FindingMiddle-earth.com, and today I want to make a quick video talking about two of my favorite ball heads to use for landscape photography or any kind of photography. And one of them I've been using for a while, one of them is pretty new to me. So this is the Pro Media Gear BH1 ball head, and this is the Really Right Stuff BH-55. Now they operate a little different. And I'll let you guys kind of decide the pros and cons for you. I just want to bring both of them to your attention. One of them you'll know very well, which is the Really Right Stuff. And the BH1 almost has no videos at all on YouTube, so I thought I would do this review. And the reason why I got this in, by the way, is because a lot of my viewers have been buying up the Pro Media Gear tripods after watching my reviews on them. And everyone that bought the tripods had messaged me and said, hey, now what do you recommend on the ball head? What about their BH1 ball head? And I had to email back everybody and say, you know what? That's a good question. I don't know. I've never used the Pro Media Gear ball head. So I've had this for a couple weeks now. I've had this one for a few, I don't know, guys, over a year, the Really Right Stuff. And I can give you kind of a good idea, or at least a pretty good idea of how they work and what might work for you, all that good stuff. They're, at the end of the day, if you want the short answer, they're both going to do the same job. They're both highly capable. They're both built like tanks. They do their job very well. So it just comes down to kind of ergonomics for me. So as far as weight goes, if you guys want to get the exact specs on that, you can go and look them up anywhere. But I'll tell you right here, holding them in person, that the Really Right Stuff BH-55 is heavier than the BH-1. I was surprised at that because online you look at the BH-1 and this looks, way chunkier than most ball heads, but it's actually lighter than the BH-55. So there's a pro or a con for you. The BH-1 on Pro Media Gear has two levels. It has a level right here under the ball and a level on the tripod plate itself. I believe this ball head, the Really Right Stuff, just has the one level for the ball head. So, that's, again, another pro or con based on how many levels you like and if you're going to be using a leveling base or not. But this one, the BH1, has two. The Really Right Stuff BH-55, you can get it configured with a knob, like a screw knob, just like the BH1, or with this lever. I see most people get the lever. I typically am not a huge fan of lever systems, but the Really Right Stuff one actually works really well. It has this two-level system, so you flick it back once, and that will loosen the grip of the L bracket on your camera, but it won't let it go. It won't let it slide out. And then the second action will release it fully. So again, there's two actions. This is closed, completely locked in. This first one loosens it up in case you need to shift your camera one way or the other on these little laser etched marker points here in case you're lining up a perfect centered panorama over a nodal point or something. But you can scoot your camera left to right, and then the second unlatch completely lets it out of the ball head. So that's a cool little, two-level system there. And then for the ball head, the operation on this is your standard ball head. So you have the ball that is enclosed, and then as you loosen it with this big knob here, you have your standard, ball head action where you can roll it all around, and then there's pre-cut little divots where you can go the full 90 degrees down, so you can, shoot completely down at something for macro photography or whatever the case is. And that's pretty much how most ball heads are designed, and it's standard. You're used to that. The BH1 has this huge knob for the ball head. And again, at first, I thought this was going to be kind of a chunky, clunky ball head. It's not. It's like ergonomically perfect in my opinion. The grip on it is way easier to grip than the Really Right Stuff. I don't know why, but every time I grip the Really Right Stuff one with sweaty hands, it'll just slide right off of it, and I'll have to really crank it. And these, for some reason, the tiny little notches that they have cut out on the ball or on the knob for the Really Right Stuff, it always makes my skin flake off. It makes it dry or something. I don't know. It doesn't feel good when I'm having to crank it. This has a huge knob with these big ridges on it on the Pro Media Gear, and it's just so easy unlock, and then you move your ball around. And so the way this ball head moves, by the way, look at this. The ball is not enclosed. So it moves full 90 degrees forward, full 90 degrees backwards, and then there's no pre-cut divot. At any time, you can move, all the way around. So you can literally move this thing like 360 degrees around. It's pretty cool, actually. I didn't know if I was gonna like that system at first. It definitely takes a little bit of getting used to because it doesn't work like your standard ball head where you're kind of trapped in there, but I like it. And then I love the big knob. As far as aesthetics go, you can't beat adding a little bit of anodized red. My gosh, the red accent on this made it just seem like it was something that Tony Stark invented and about to slap on his Iron Man suit somewhere. Like if Tony Stark was a photographer, this would be the ball head he would use. It's just, it's a sexy product in my opinion. So there's that. As far as build quality goes, oh, I'm sorry, we'll continue talking about operation. So yeah, they both have the big knobs for the ball head. The Really Right Stuff has a friction knob. So you can control the friction on the ball head. What that means is you can control how loose, see how loose it is? It just falls all over the place, how floppy. You can control how loose or how stiff the ball head works. Now that is nice that this has the friction knob, but I'll tell you what, the Pro Media gear is just stuck in one friction. I believe at least, someone correct me in the comments if there's a way to, with an Allen wrench somewhere, to control the friction. But without a friction knob, it actually is a nice stiffness. It's not like it's too tight or too loose, it's just nice. And it's probably safer that way to not have a friction knob so that your camera never accidentally flops and smacks into your tripod or falls off, God forbid, falls off your tripod. So I like that it's just kind of permanently stiff. Obviously, there's a lot of people out there that are gonna prefer a friction knob, that's fine. They both also have these knobs that control the panning. So obviously if you're on a tripod, the ball head, as you can see, will pan independently from the ball, which is obviously just standard stuff. What I don't like about the Really Right Stuff tripod is, for some reason, they put the friction knob and the panning knob like right here on top of each other. So when you're trying to do one or the other, if you have big hands and fingers like me, you're just trying to get in there with your thumb, and it's just so, I don't know if you can see that, it's just so, my finger can't even fit through it, it gets stuck, and I knock. The dangerous thing about this friction knob is when I do this, I've knocked the friction knob before and I have accidentally loosened it. So same thing here. If you do the friction knob, sometimes you can knock this knob. It's just not a very good ergonomic setup for that. They put the two knobs literally right on top of each other. So I don't like that. But yet again, for the Pro Media gear, it's completely open, everything's out of the way, and it's it's just a bigger knob. If you can see the difference there in those two knobs, it's a big difference. And this tiny knob has that same material that just does that weird stuff to my skin. It just makes it, I don't know, it's weird. It slips right off when it sweats. I don't like that. The Pro Media gear has this big grippy knob and does the same thing. It pans independent from the ball. And it's great. I mean, it does what it needs to do. It's silly to spend this much time talking about ball heads, I guess, but there's not a lot of videos made about the BH1, so I thought I'd talk about it a little bit. The screw knob on the BH1, very, very ergonomic yet again. It's a little bit different of a material than this. It's more similar to the Really Right Stuff, so it's not quite as comfortable to turn as the bigger knobs here, but it's still a screw knob that works like any other screw knob. I'll tell you one thing though. So if we talk about build quality, we move on to build quality. The Really Right Stuff is one of those legendary ball heads, right? It's widely used amongst all photographers. It's been around for years and years and years. Everyone talks about it. This is like the golden standard for landscape photographers kind of thing. And this one is not quite as well known. It's not quite as well talked about. It doesn't get as much press, but this should be just as legendary as the Really Right Stuff. The precision, craftsmanship here and the way it feels is just really good. And I'm going to be honest with you guys because you guys know I love Pro Media gear. When I requested to be sent one of these, I did not think I was going to be that impressed. I thought it was just, it's a ball head, it works, move on, right? I'm really impressed. I'm probably going to switch over to the BH1. What I've been doing so far is I have my Pro Media Gear 344 legs and my 424 legs. I've just been putting the Really Right Stuff head on the 344, and then I'll unscrew it and I'll put it on the 424 when I shoot with it. I'm probably just gonna keep this one on my 424 and this one on my 344, so I have two awesome ball heads on both of my tripods. But man, I really like the BH1. So here is where it comes down to build quality, a win for the Pro Media Gear. This is where it all comes down to it. The mounting part, the actual camera mount up here where the L bracket goes in. If you feel it on the Really Right Stuff, it feels like it's built like a tank. It feels great. It's filled very, very well made. I like it, but you feel it on the Pro Media Gear, and it's got this feel like literally like it was built to withstand a bomb or something. I mean, it is just so well made. It's so thick and sturdy. And this is the part that's holding your camera. So this is the part that you want to be made very well. And again, it feels like something that Tony Stark made, and he's about to put a tripod on his back of his Iron Man suit, and this is the ball head he would use, I promise. It's got that bit of red, just like Tony likes, and there you go. So same thing on the bottom. They both have the I guess it's the 3/8/16 mount where you can screw it on your tripod, standard stuff there. Like I said, the biggest difference is the way this ball head operates. It's not enclosed, so when you loosen it up, it can go 90 degrees and full 90 degrees that way, and it never, it's never trapped. You can just keep spinning it around and around. So yeah, the biggest differences other than that is that this one does not have the friction knob. This one does. There are two different brand names, and it's really up to you. They're both going to get the job done. If you want to see them with a camera mounted in them before we wrap up the video, I'll show you real quick. So here's your Really Right Stuff ball head. I'll lock this in. This is a little hard to do without being on a tripod. I'll lock this guy in. So there you go. There is the Really Right Stuff ball head with a D850 and a 24-70 Nikkor on it. Okay, we'll get you a side view there. And there's your front view. Okay, there you go. Now I'll put it on the BH1, and you can see how that one looks. All right, let's mount it onto the BH1. By the way, both of these ball heads are Arca Swiss compatible, so my L bracket just works in both of them. So there you go. There's your side view for the BH1 ball head. Look at the other side. All right, your front view. There you go. That is the Pro Media Gear BH1, the Really Right Stuff BH-55. And really, there's not one clear winner. They both have their pros and cons, and it's just up to you guys. I just wanted to finally give you guys my opinion on the BH1 now that I've used it, and I can't complain. I really, really like it. I like the grippiness better and the ergonomics better here. Obviously, this one has the legendary name behind it, but that doesn't really mean anything because I like Pro Media Gear tripods better than I like Really Right Stuff tripods. So it really just all comes down to personal preference. I encourage that you try both of them if you can maybe rent them or buy it and test it out, whatever the case is. There you go. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.